Alright, welcome to the first video in 11v11, and in this we're going to be talking a 4-3-3 formation. So I'm going to walk you through the numbers, and very simple. We have the 1 as the goalkeeper, we have our back 4, which is signified 2, 5, 4, 3. Okay, then you have your 6, your 8, your 10. Then you have 11, 9, and 7 to finish out your front 3. So it's a 4 with the 2, 5, 4, and 3, so back 4. Midfield 3, 6, 8, and 10. And then you have 11, 9, and 7 for your forward 3. Now, there's a couple of ways you can play this formation in terms of player positioning and movements. And I just kind of showed you here a general overview. I don't want to get too intricate in terms of where players are playing or movements in terms of like a game scenario. So I'm just going to show you a general way you could play in a 4-3-3, and I think you'll like it. So you're going to check this out in a second. One thing I do want you to try and recognize in this scenario, you can see there's a lot of spacing between players, and that's on purpose. So what I mean by that is if you look at the midfield 3, so you have your 6, your 8, and your 10. It's a big triangle. Okay. Now, a main objective of the 10 and the 8 is to try and get the balls in pockets of space behind the opposing midfielders, which you're going to see here shortly, opposing midfielders. And then as well attack half spaces. Now the half spaces are between the opponent's center back, so for example right center back, and then the full back, so the right full back. So that would be a right center back and then a right full back. So you'd have them attack the spaces in between there, which I'm going to show you in another video, but just to give you an idea. Now the reason why we want them to start behind the two other center midfielders is because two reasons. One, the first is the opponent, their direct opponent, won't know where they are. They have to scan behind them to see, which makes it harder, of course, because they can't always be watching in front of them. The second is it might encourage them to drop back. So what I mean by that is if you take the number 10 and you put an opponent in front of him here, he now has to look behind constantly to find this player. And then 2, to make it easier for him, he would just drop and go either stand next to him or behind him, so that way he always knows where he is, which would create space deeper for other players. Okay, so I'm going to start you off here, and I've slowed the speed down so that way it's not too fast because there's so many players. So in this scenario, I'm going to start the ball at a center back position instead of more forward. So it's starting with the number 5 on the right center back. Okay, he's going to play to the number 2. Now watch a little bit of fluidity here. So you can see here the 8 slides out into a wide position to pick up the ball, because now if you go here, you can see there's numerical advantage. There's 3 players here versus technically 2. The 6 hasn't moved over and the 4 is too far, so it's 3 versus 2. If the 6 comes, then it's 3v3. Okay, but a lot of 6s or players are going to stay central because that's what they're told to do. So you can see here, with the 8 coming wide, the 7 can move centrally, and you can see the whole entire opponent team is shift. So what I want you to recognize now is the opponent now has a numerical advantage in this side. Right? They have 4 players here that you could count, and we have 2. But if you look at the opposite side, we now have 3 players against 1. So if we're able to swing the ball quickly, we can get out and break the other way. Right? So we'd have to swing, and there's a couple ways of this. You could play negatively back and then swing it the other way, which might take a little while. You could try and play into the 6 and swing. You could try and play forward into the 7, 6 and swing, or different scenarios, or play a direct long ball out. Now from this position, it's going to be harder. The 8 could maybe also play down the line into this channel for the 7, but let's see what happens. So we play into the 6. 6 gets a good open body, is able to play to the 4, and then right here. What's probably going to happen in a game in this scenario, the 7 is either going to go pressure or they're just going to swing over. In this scenario, they pressure. So you can see here now, because they're going to pressure the ball in the center back, there's a space creation here. Now I mentioned the half spaces a minute ago. The half space is between the 5 and the 2 here, which you can see. Right? So the 10 could attack this space here in between by either running into this space or receiving a ball in a pocket like this between the 2. This is important because they might not know which one needs to step to pressure the 10. Okay? So the 4 here can play to the left back or try and play more direct into the 10 or even to the 11. All right, so let's see. Okay, the ball's shifting. We play the ball into, it looks like, the 10. And now what I want you to notice is the fullback recognizes the space and starts flying forward. Because of this, the 11 is free to move centrally as like a second forward. So what you're going to see in a second is when the 7 or when the 10 picks up the ball, watch this. Now the formation has changed. It's really now a 3, 3, 4. Right? And you could maybe even say a 4, 2, 4. So the game is fluid like that. The system has changed because the left back's been released. Now he's like the left wing. The 11 slides in as a second forward, and now you can see we have essentially 3 forwards here trying to break the line. Okay, so let's keep watching. So now it's 5v4. The 11 is making more of a horizontal run to maybe try and drag the 5 out. 10 releases the pass to the 9 who's on the shoulder of 5 and 4. So if we go right here, you can see this. The 9 isn't being marked by the 5 or the 4. He's making a direct run playing off the shoulder of 5. And the 4 might be in trouble because there's also 11. So which one do they pick up? There's confusion. Ball comes into the channel. The entire team steps up. And we get our shot off. Okay. Now you're going to see here we're going to return to defensive positions in a 4-3-3 setup. And there's a couple of ways you can do this, and this is the one that I've chosen. So here, right, you can see here, we have the front 3, we have the midfield 3, and then we have the back 3. Okay, you could also drop them and make them play as a 4-5-1, but in this scenario I've done a 4-3-3. The reason why you would do this is to try and press the opponent. Now I'm going to show you, this is why, I'm going to show you from the red team now in this scenario, why we want players to start in spaces behind the opponent. So this is their number 8 and this is their number 10. You can see that they're behind the 2 midfielders, and the defensive mid is screening the 9, not screening the 8 or the 10 from where the ball is. So check this out. Okay? He gets the ball in front of him, and you can see now, looking for the pass, it's going in this direction to the 8. Check this out. The 8 moves a little bit into a pocket of space right here. I'm going to freeze the frame. And you can see here, because the player gets into this pocket, here there's an overload, there's a 2v1. 1 but 2, the number 10 cannot see his direct opponent, which in this scenario would now be the 8. Okay? Which means this is a very dangerous position, because if this player can pick the ball up, which he's going to in a second, he can drive directly into these spaces right here. Right? For example, into the half space between the center back and the fullback. Lay a ball off, play out wide, and that's a very dangerous situation. So this is why when you play a 4-3-3 system, you need these players to find those little pockets. Those 2 attacking midfielders. We have the same thing with the 10 on this side. Okay, so I'm going to show you where the ball arrives. And it'll stop. Messed up. Hold on. And then I'll stop. Well, let me move it again for you. All right, I got to time it right, otherwise it auto cuts. So I apologize for that. And I'll cut it right here. So you can see here, we've picked the ball up in this pocket. It's a 2 versus 1. Now, what I also want you to understand about this game is that, yes, on paper, it's 11v11, right? There's also 9v9 and 7v7, but it's a whole bunch of small numbers. So in this scenario right here, where this player, the number 8, picks up the ball, it's 2v1. If he drives centrally here with the ball, it's maybe 3v3. So the game breaks down to smaller numbers of math, depending on where the ball is. So for example, you look over here, 2v1. It could be 2v2. Right here you have 3 or 2 versus 3. There's a whole bunch of different variant numbers that you can see. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And this is why a 4-3-3 is a very effective formation that most teams use, some variant of it. And you're going to see a couple more variants or variations of one in a couple of seconds in the next video. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense. I will see you in the next video.